So before we carry on with the video, I'd like to give a massive shout out to our brand new sponsor, Game HQ, which is one of our local tournament stores. They've kindly offered us a 5% discount code starting from next week. So anytime you want to buy any Yu-Gi-Oh singles, sealed product, sleeves, or anything else nerd related, so collectibles, video games, make sure you give that website a look, and we'll drop the link in the description. So just kicking it off with the Drytron monsters, obviously. There's nothing particularly like unique about this. It's just 3 alpha, 3 zeta, 3 delta, the 1 gamma, and then just 3 emergency, Fafnir, Nova, and then just the 1 ritual spell. But it's like worth noting that because in this deck we're going to be like randomly milling cards, so a second ritual spell can like very easily be considered because it makes your plays weird if you do mill it. Something else is that gamma can obviously be bumped up as well. I really like gamma, it's my favourite one. But I haven't really got a lot to say about the Drytrons other than that they're amazing, the best cards ever. They feel like the new danger monsters to me. It's like, I really like them. And then for like the other typical sort of Drytron accomplices, which is obviously Ben 10. A lot of people hate this card, I love it. I think it's like, this is how like you build your advantage in the deck, because all of the Drytrons are like, you discard, like it costs you a card to get a card, so they're all like neutrals in a sense. But like where this is, it turns into like actual like pluses. So this card's amazing, and it's like its target pool is so good as well. And then we just play this, and then we still play just the 1 Manju. I think like this is like a much better card like in this build than it is in like a typical build, because we're not going to be like normal summoning like Vanity's ruler or anything like that. So we usually normal summon this a lot more frequently. It's just important to have as a level 4 monster on the field, which doesn't like cost you your Ben 10. Because then this just searches like the next Ben 10, so it's just like completely free. Valkyria, I really like this card, especially in this build, because we are making rank 4s and level 8 synchros. Very, very strong. And then like we still play like an Ava package, but it's like a little bit different. Typically it's like 3 orange, and then it's either purple or Cyber Petite Angel in like a typical list. I've decided to cut an orange for a green because this card can negate Mystic Mine and stuff like that. And then on top of that, we're also playing like another hand trap which kind of does orange's job, so like it's not so important that you need to see it. And like it's good when you play like 2 1-offs instead of just a single one, because it means that unless you draw both of these 2 1-offs, your Ava will always search your 2 fairies. And then just the Dawn Knight, which is just a typical Drytron card. It's pretty cool in this build as well, because like there's more targets that you can send off this than just the like the gamma that you'd usually send. And then this is where it sort of gets like unique, I guess. So we're playing a Raiden. This is meant to be Felice. It's important that it is Felice because Felice is a tuner which lets you make synchros. And then just recharge. This card is so cool in this deck. Like anytime you activate this card, if you just hit any Drytron, it's just like 3 stonks at that point. And then the fact that it gives you a level 4 tuner monster, like if it doesn't get stopped, it's just like amazing, because then you get to make the Chaos Ruler synchro, which is that card is just insane. And then we're playing a Chaos Space package, which is just 3 Chaos Space, and then the 2 Baby Dragons, which is like the optimal sort of targets, but then you want to play another dark target, just because like you will only ever be discarding lights in this deck, so it only matters about the dark ones. So obviously the hands where you like draw Clap Serpent and stuff like that, or the hands where you draw Wyver Burster, it means that you've got a little bit more flexibility on what you search of your Chaos Space. I'm not actually sure if Leviania is meant to be the correct one though. I feel like Chaos Creator might be better in this deck, just because Chaos Creator can actually like bring back your Omega after you've taken a card out of the hand, and then you can like do it again. So you still get to like rip a card out of the hand, but it's just like, it's easier because it's easy to make, like it's easier to meet 1 dark monster in the grave than it is to put 3 in there. But these are very good. Obviously they're really weak to like Lancia and stuff in the mirror match, but this is very much like just a fun version of the deck, I suppose. And then the last cards are just Gamma and Driver. So obviously when you activate like a spell and you search a card and then your opponent draws you, obviously if you activate Gamma and negate it, then that is locking you out of the Drytron stuff, but if they're drolling you, you're not allowed to use Drytron stuff anyway. So you may as well have something like this to be able to do something. This card can then make either Omega or the Chaos Ruler Synchro, which at least does something, and then like this is like a much better hand trap when you go second than Orange Light is, because it's like, this one's just not an inherent -1. So yeah, that's the main deck, so we'll just go to the extra deck. I just want to note that I am about to show you a 13 card extra deck. The two missing cards are the rank 1 Lyrilusk and Zeus, just because the postman hasn't arrived yet today. So we play Link Rebo, Anima and Striker Dragon as just like Link 1s. These are all just important for building Union Carrier. Anima's really good going second. Link Rebo's really good for when you actually like set up your board, because we make stuff like Lambda and Masquerade a lot, so it's like prevents them from being attacked over. So yeah, these are pretty standard, I think. So we play Lambda. Like I say, we are trying to make rank 4s and level 8 synchros, so Omega and Redo would trigger this guy to search a Gamma, which is just like an easy piece of disruption. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I like Lambda. And then we just play Masquerade because this card lets you make Unicorn on your opponent's turn. This is probably like one of the most impactful sort of like Link 2s that you can sort of make. There's like a sick interaction as well, where if you like have both of these and you search Gamma, when you already have a Gamma, so what you'll do is you'll Gamma them, and then you'll use the IP to link away the Cypherframe driver, and then it means that this Gamma's live as well then. So that's pretty cool. And then obviously like the Unicorn for the Masquerade. The Union Carrier because this is secretly a Drytron monster. And then we play Cerberus as well, just as like the last Link 2. This is basically just to out Zeus. I think like this card is sort of much more important than Phoenix is nowadays, just because it's important that you can that you force Zeus off the field before you sort of like climb into like your win conditions like access code and whatnot. Otherwise they can just wait for you and then just like take away everything. And then just for the last of the extra deck cards, it's just one Beatrice. This is like a combo extender. You usually send Felice, and then that way you get to make either Omega or Dweller, which is pretty cool. Like this is like one of my arguments as to why I really like this build, is because when you go first, especially like in the mirror matches and stuff, this Dweller is as impactful as like a Herald of Ultimateness, essentially. This turns off much more, like this basically turns off everything that you would want to negate that your opponent's going to do. So yeah, and then the last two cards are just two synchros. We play Omega, really cool, triggers Lambda, takes a card out of the hand. It's pretty cool if you can sort of afford to keep this guy on the board for the standby phase effect, because then you can put stuff like Chaos Space back into your grave. And then the last card is Chaos Ruler, which this card is just insane. I think like this card is one of the incentives that makes me want to play with a build like this, because this card is like so powerful, and I just feel like they haven't given us a deck yet that can properly use this. And I think like in the future, especially, I think this deck would definitely be a contender that like breaks this card. We're just going to take you through a quick test hand, just to show you how like the turns would typically go, or ideally go. So we're just going to draw our 5. So we go. So this hand's like perfect. So you're typically just always going to activate your alpha here by sending the delta, and then that lets you go and search for your Ben 10, and then you're going to go and activate your Nova to go and grab Zeta, which I think this is like pretty typical Drytron stuff. And then just because we drew the Wyververster, we are going to have to like make a Dart monster here, which usually would be wasted, so we are just going to throw this away for Link Rebo. And then we're going to throw this away for Anima. And then these two can go and make Union Carrier. And then we're just going to activate the Union Carrier's effect just to equip the Dawn Knife on the deck. And then from here you can activate the Zeta in the grave by sending the Ben 10, which lets you go and get the ritual spell. And then the Ben 10 triggers, I think at this point we're always going to search for Manju, because this is the only time that you can search for the Manju without losing track of your Ben 10 search. And it's better to do it earlier than later, because it means that you, on the last Ben 10 that you want to activate, it means that you get to search for like what you want. And then we can just also on the Manju to go and grab the Ben 10 out of the deck. And then you can go and activate the ritual spell, so you're just going to tribute these. And it's going to let you summon the Benton from the grave, and then the effect of your Door Knight's going to trigger, which lets you send your copy of Gamma from the depths of the grave. And then at this point, you want to activate your ritual spell in the grave to add back to your hand. So then this guy just becomes 1,000 attack instead of 2,000. And then because we've got Delta in the grave, we don't have to use our Gamma yet, so we can just use Delta to send the Ben 10. We can then reveal Meteonis to just draw a free card, so we just get another Gamma. And then the effect of Ben 10 triggers to go and get us another Ben 10. When you're doing your Ben 10 searches, just bear in mind that you only need to search as many Ben 10s as you have Drytrons to activate. Like at this point, usually, because you haven't always got the Delta, you'll only actually go through 2 Ben 10s. But because we've been through all 4 of our Drytrons, the third one does come up. So now you just want to activate the ritual spell to get rid of this one, to go and grab your Ben 10 back, and then you can overlay these 2 for Beatrice. Like your card position is sort of like, it doesn't matter, like this shouldn't really be here. Like you should be doing it in this corner to play around the anima and the rock link 2 that like changes control and stuff, because I think if you put things in these 2 zones, then you can't, and then fill your extra monster zone, then they can't actually take anything off you with those cards. So then these 2 can go into Beatrice, and then you can use Beatrice's effect to go and mill your Felice. Felice obviously like triggers when it's sent to the grave to summon itself. And then from here, I think this is where I'd be dropping Wyverburst on. So you drop this by banishing the anima, just because Link Creebo's got utility in the grave. And then you can use these 2 to go and synchro into Omega. And then the effects of your Wyverburst triggers to go and search for Clap Serpent. And then at this point, you're probably just going to banish your Wyverburst to summon the Clap Serpent, and then you can overlay these 2 for Dweller. Yeah, we'll just chuck it in the middle. Like I say, you do want to be playing like on this side, so this Omega should have been like over here, that way your Dweller could be here. And then you can you've got an option there whether you want to keep this Beatrice or you can like link it away. I like to keep it because it means that on your opponent's turn you can send Ava, and then that searches for orange and green. But I think at this point we're probably forced to use the Omega a bit early. Which I think is like fine because we already have the Gammas anyway for the landers to like, so like the lander doesn't really matter other than just like turning these Gammas on. So we'll use Omega to take a card out of the hand, and then we'll use the effect of Gamma, which lets us send this last Ben 10. The Gamma then revives a Drytron from the grave, and then the Ben 10 triggers to go and search for a fairy. At this point it doesn't really matter which one you want. You can go for, you can probably like go for green or purple, and then that way the Beatrice searches the other 2 on the opponent's turn. Or you can go for like Valkyria, and then this way you can make 2 link monsters here. So I think we're just going to go for that. And then you can go and link these 2 into your lander. And then at this point you've got like the option whether you want to drop this to make another link 2, or you can actually leave this on the board and then bring back Link Creebo to protect this from being attacked over. But like just for greed's sake, we'll just make the second link 2. I usually always banish Union Carrier from the grave when I've got the opportunity to, just because it's not very nice to have that card reborn. And then this can just become IP. And then I think that would be it, and then like rolling onto your opponent's turn, so you can activate the effect of Beatrice in the standby phase to go and send your Ava, and then you can activate the effect of this Ava to banish 2 fairies from your grave. So typically you always want to get rid of Valkyrie just because it does something when it's banished. And then the just a Benton probably fine. Yeah, so we'll just banish Benton. And then you can go ahead and you can search for. I usually go for green and orange. But it can be like good to go for purple, like instead of either one of these, because it means that they're not going to chain impermanence to your dweller at that point. But you can just like hold this dweller until like the normal summon monster anyway, and then that should be fine too. But yeah, so like on the opponent's turn now, so you've got either a spell or a monster negate with these two, and then you've got like 2 monster negates which like you can resolve, like which you actually will resolve, because you'll drop this one and then you can activate IP to get rid of the driver. So like your IP and then you just go into driver, and then you can go into like another monster. Like obviously you can get rid of the gamma as well, and then you can just go into like unicorn. Even if you use this effect or not, you can still just like drop this with the gamma. And then obviously you've got the dweller effect as well, which should be stopping all of the scary stuff that your opponent's trying to do. So that's sort of like the gist of the deck. And then like at the point where you like next turn rolls around, the only thing that you need to see is like a Drytron, and then you basically just win the game. So yeah, I really like this deck. I think it's like really cool, and I think it's like really unexplored as well. I think that people are just putting Vanity's Ruler and Herald out, like, which is obviously, it's not bad at all, but I just feel like there's something very, very spicy that this deck can do, and it hasn't been discovered yet. So yeah, that's it for the deck. So that was my tier 18 Drytron deck profile. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you've got any innovative ideas that you've got which sort of like fits into this sort of build. And don't forget to check out our sponsor Game HQ, whose link will be in the description. So thank you.